think it's important that the audience realize that Peter Todd is a bad actor, and his Libra relay is an attack on the Bitcoin network.
I'm a bad person and capable of love.
He's intentionally trying to bypass the peer-to-peer network to flood the network with spam.
Yeah, it's very effectively routes around people who do not choose to relay those transactions.
I mean, let's say that Peter and I are bad actors.
Sure.
Let's say that we are. What are you going to do about it? That's why we are here. How are you going to stop us?
Do I need to mention?
Let's talk about the future of Bitcoin and how you're going to stop us.
I mean, the network is having an immune reaction. We are watching it happen.
Yep.
So there's your answer. Any hostility that is displayed by the Bitcoin network at any scale does cause some potential scammer or someone that wants to build some scam coin on Bitcoin protocol to have himself and his investors ask the question, should we just do this on another network? And the more you have a network demonstrate hostility to what it is they're trying to do, the more they disappear and do other things.
15 years of Bitcoin using filters and it working successfully, and there's no evidence to suggest that it would not continue to. The only reason those got mined was because there were bad actors intentionally bypassing the relay network entirely and going directly to the miners who were also, in this case, bad actors that were cooperating with them. And there will always be some degree of miners that may be bad actors, but as long as they're the minority, the net effect overall on the network is that the good actors will prevail. Miners bypassing the peer-to-peer network to mine spam are bad actors, yes. This is, just to be clear, this is not a debate. This is bad actors like Peter Todd and Lopp attacking the network. And the network, at this point, either defends itself or it doesn't.
Like, are you going to do a consensus change? I think is the big question.
That is the question, yes.
I will give a prediction, actually, for my own Libra Relay project, which is I suspect in the future, Bitcoin Core will be identical to it, and it will be pointless to continue, and there just won't be new releases of it.
Bitcoin Core is irrelevant at this point. The only way that, if Bitcoin Core is continued to be used by the community, it's then to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Core is not going to be relevant anyway. The only way Bitcoin can survive this attack from Peter and others is by rejecting Bitcoin Core 30, and unless they make a big about face and come back to reality. No, answer the question. Why do you want to force everyone in this room to store child porn and distribute it?
I mean, as BitMEX went and showed, this just isn't a question we can go stop one way or the other. I mean, this is a legal question, and unfortunately, the answer here is political.
It's not just a legal question, it's a moral question.
I mean, why do I go run nodes that go and transmit transactions that go pay for the stuff? I mean, we've had this question since the beginning of Bitcoin. And
we have. Don't transmit transactions.
Let me address
they
this.
Record it.
We have a very long precedent that was set by Satoshi. Initially, hold on, let me address this because it's relevant. When WikiLeaks started transacting on Bitcoin, it made Satoshi pretty uncomfortable. And he said, famously, it would have been nice to have gotten this attention in any other capacity. We have kicked the hornet's nest, and now the swarm is headed towards us. It was scary, let's be honest. Bitcoin is strong and it's anti-fragile, but there is a degree of discomfort that people that want to engage with the network will tolerate before they walk away from it. It's defensible having a neutral monetary network, but humans fundamentally do not consider file storage the same thing. So if you want to make straw man positions like that, fine, but you just make yourself look like a clown. No one is saying it's going to die today, but I'm saying you're putting pressure on nodes to become arbitrary file storage systems, and most people don't really want the headache that comes with that because it has nothing to do with money.
Look, we had this discussion.
There is no information theory point in the first place. Bitcoin has never supported data storage. Core 30 is trying to change that right now. And if we resist that, then Bitcoin will continue to not support data storage. Hiding stuff by encoding it as financial transactions is not the same thing at all. There's a correct way to interpret the blockchain data as financial transactions, and that needs to remain the only correct way to interpret it. Otherwise, if we start adding data storage as an actual supported use case, then these problems become real. There is no images on the blockchain until this month. There is financial transactions that are just spam that other people can take those transactions and transform them into an image, yes. But the image itself is not on the blockchain. It's not something that Bitcoin supports. And that is what Core 30 is trying to change.
Of course, the idea that there's no images in the blockchain, I mean, just look at the whole NFT thing. That is real.
I would note that like even this sort of legal issue of putting illegal content into the blockchain, there's no consensus about that as well. Like, or at least the people who are saying that this becomes a legal issue for node operators, I would say they're on the outside of the rough consensus.
I mean, all I can say to that is if you're so concerned and aren't willing to fight this politically, you probably should stop using Bitcoin.
Stop assuming your enemies are idiots. And I think that's particularly applicable here. Me bringing up what happened to BSV when they made the change from 80 bytes to 100,000 bytes and getting flooded with child porn seems like Craig Wright can go from being the most annoying part of Bitcoin's history ever to someone who took a bullet for us and showed us what happens when you do this stupid crap that Core have just done. And the fact that we can have that and demonstrated to us that we are making a mistake by Craig using a system that is a derivative of Bitcoin with the same architecture for the most part. I'm not going to assume, not only am I going to take your advice and not assuming my enemies are idiots, they could be idiots and they can literally just look at another chain that did the same thing and say, I'm going to attack Bitcoin this way, and I'll defend what I've been doing as being prophylactic in approach. I don't think me having said what I've said is going to herald the kind of attack I'm talking about, and we have a chance to get in front of it and demonstrate the fact that if it happens, it's not reflective of Bitcoin culturally. We are not generic file storage. We do not solicit this kind of stuff. We are a neutral monetary network. We are not trying to shoehorn in other use cases.
But it is...
Thank you.
There is scam coin that is exploiting Bitcoin and abusing the chain. The Bitcoin chain itself does not have any images or any NFTs of that sort.
Chain.
You can go to random websites and see images. That has nothing to do with Bitcoin.
I do not agree. I really do not.
Because you're a bad actor.
From Bitcoin. It is willful ignorance, let's be honest.
It's completely different to have some scam coin program that interprets the data incorrectly than to have Bitcoin itself interpret the data as intended, and you get this stuff.
Hang on.
That's an excellent point.
Hang on. You clearly can't criminalize it just because you happen to visit a website which happened to load some content in the background that you personally never intended. I mean, that's... Sane courts have agreed that.
Yeah, and you're careful about what websites you go on. That's expected, whereas I download everything in the blockchain and store it, and I can't delete it.
But you're not distributing a website that you go to.
Yeah, and you're also not relaying the content on it to other people. I mean,
you're conflating spam and data storage. Both are problematic, but data storage is a magnitude worse because it creates liability, moral, and legal.
All right, so let's bring it back to our topic.
Running a prune node means you can't run an Electrum indexer, which makes your node useless for the purposes of running a wallet. In most cases, you can obviously just run you can run a wallet anyway, but Electrum servers make wallets actually good. Like Sparrow wants to work that way, and other wallets do. So just run a prune node as a sort of coping mechanism for op return. Doesn't matter if you really don't want to store it, is not.
But yeah.
Showing that you're a bad actor again. Bitcoin Core is gone, so it would be Bitcoin knots and variants. But at the end of the day, the decisions on policies and things like that need to be left to the users. It can't be something that you have implementations trying to force on people. I think it's worth pointing out that saying Core is just following what's being mined is kind of recursive, because Bitcoin Core is, by making these modifications, forcing miners using Bitcoin Core to mine these things that miners may not want to mine. They no longer have this choice, whereas Bitcoin Core takes away the options. And also by trying to match consensus. Consensus is intentionally broad, it's intentionally permissive, specifically because we have policy as our first defense. If we no longer have policy as a first defense, we'd have to lock down consensus. We'd have to implement all these precautions in consensus code, and that would make every future upgrade a hard fork effectively.